This is the inside of the 2021 Elddis Xplore 586. If we firstly come to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on the master switch. Above the master switch we have the main isolator for the entrance lights. All other lights can then be turned on and off on their own switches. We have the voltage of the leisure battery just up here. Water pump on and off just here whenever the pump is in operation. The red light will come on to let you know. And then beneath that we have awning light on and off. Beneath the main control panel we then have the controls for the whale heating and hot water system. You will see that we have water heater at the top and heating at the bottom. If I start pressing this button, you will see that we get a series of icons until we end up back at off. So if we start with the first icon here, wavy lines represent mains electricity. I always round it up, it's a lot easier that way, and I class this as main supply at 1 kilowatt. Two wavy lines, main supply at about 2 kilowatts. So these two here are just dependent on the ampage of the site that you're on. This way you can try and avoid tripping. If we don't have main supply at all, we can run the boiler on gas with a little picture of the flame. And if we have both power sources available to us, we can also run it on dual fuel, so a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt and a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. This setting here is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get hot water nice and quickly. It's also effective if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other. Whenever the system is using gas, you'll see you'll get a little flame just appear to let you know. If for any reason there is a problem with the boiler, a red exclamation mark will just appear where my finger is here. In this mode here, it will only use gas as it's required. If we now return to off again, you'll then see that the little flame will then go back off again. Next we have heating, and again exactly the same sort of design. So we have single wavy line, so mains electricity, but this time about 500 watts. Two wavy lines 1 kilowatt and three wavy lines about 2 kilowatts. Gas again, and then dual fuel. Control the temperature just here, and again whenever you're consuming gas you will get a little picture of a flame appear, and exactly the same with the boiler. If there's a fault in any shape or form, a red exclamation mark will appear where my finger is. So if you get a red exclamation mark here for the heating or here for the water heater, to find out what the problem is, press the appropriate button. So if it's a water heater issue, press this and then you'll get a series of red lights letting you know what the problem is. Exactly the same if it's a heating, hold this one, series of red lights to let you know what the problem is. It will explain it in the manual or if you Google it. Once you think you've rectified the problem, if it's something relatively simple, you will need to reset the controls. So if it's a heating issue, hold this button down and then the plus button together. And if it's a water problem, hold this one down and the plus button together, and it will then reset. If I now drop the thermostat right the way down, the little picture of the moon is what we'll recommend as a night mode. It will keep the fan relatively quiet. If we now come to the bench seat just here, and we drop the hatch down. You'll see the consumer unit just here. So we have the main trip switches here, so we have all the individual MCBs all labelled up, the main RCD and the test button just here. So if something's not working on main supply, just come here to see whether or not you've tripped. Beneath that we then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they are all labelled up. So if there's something not working on 12 volt, again just come and see whether or not you've blown a fuse. If we now remove these cushions and we now lift up, we can see the back of the battery box just here. This is the main 12 volt 25 amp fuse just here. As this caravan's been fitted with a power touch motor mover, we have the control board just here, alarm box here, and then the whale boiler itself just here. To drain the boiler down for winterization or for travel, you'll see that we have this yellow lever just here, which is currently in the closed position, so it's holding water inside the boiler. To drain it, make sure the water pump is turned off, and then flap up like so. This will now drain all the water out of the boiler. If you're fully winterising the van, it's also advisable to open up all the taps as well. This will aid in releasing airlocks and drain down a lot better. To refill, close like so, fill up your aqua roll, drop the submersible into it, turn the water pump on, and it will commence refilling it. You will need to open the taps, they'll cough, they'll splutter, wait until they're running freely on hot and cold, and then close, and then the system will be fully reprimed. Throughout the caravan you will find gas isolation taps, this one here being for the boiler and this one here being for the heating. They are all in the on position, and quite frankly they can all be left like this. They're more for maintenance than anything else. I always say if you smell gas in the caravan, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. If we now just pop the cushions back on again, under the other bench seat we have literally just storage. If we open up this overhead locker just here, we have the location of the television aerial. So the booster box for it just sits here, on and off just on the side just here, and control the signal strength just here. The actual aerial is here. To raise the mast, just undo the collar and then push up and then twist it into the position that you require and then lock it into place. Never over tighten these collars because you can split them. This aerial here is also for the radio as well, so do make sure it's up if you want to listen to radio stations. You can flip from horizontal to vertical with the aerial just by turning the tail just here. Do make sure that the aerial is back down again for travel. With the radio, turn it on and off on the button that says SRC. This does have USB connectivity just here. To search for radio stations just here. If you need to get into the radio's settings, just press the volume button in and then you just rotate. You can change your audio, etc. in here. To turn it back off again, just hold the SRC again. The freestanding table is located just in this cupboard here. Above it we have aerial fly lead point for the television, 12 volt and mains. The microwave operates on main supply. Do make sure that the contents are removed for travel, as it states here. Behaves like most microwaves do. You've got your quick start just here, stop, power settings, etc. just there. Beneath it we have the hob, so it is just a matter of push in, twist, and then push the igniter just down here. There we go. With the oven and the grill, push into the left for the oven. And then push into the right for the grill. Again, storage beneath, and you will find the majority of the rest of the gas isolation taps of the caravan. So we have at the top there the fridge, and then middle one for the hob, and the bottom one for the cooker. Again, more storage, and then drawers all the way up to the cutlery drawer just here. The Dometic fridge turns on and off just here. Pick your power source just here, so we're currently running on main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If we want to run it on gas, just press the flame. It will auto ignite itself. If it fails to light, the unit will beep at you and a red flashing light will appear here. If you think it's down to the fact that there may be a bit of air in the system, as it states on here, you can press this to make the fridge try to relight itself again. Last one is 12 volt maintain, which we use when we're towing the caravan. This will work once the ignition has been turned on. If I press it at the moment, it will beep at us because we're not attached to a tow vehicle. Temperature control just here. Push down to open. There we have the fridge and the removable freezer box. Washroom just here. So we have the Thetford toilet. The bowl swivels about to open to the cassette. Just slide the grey lever across just here. Push to flush on the top. Level indicator just here, so when the cassette needs emptying it will illuminate. Close the cassette back up again. If this is left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you feel resistance, just come in and check that nobody's left it open. We then have the basin and shower cubicle. Do make sure that the shower screen has been secured for travel. Large wardrobe at the rear. A above my head we have the Omni vent fan, so to raise the roof vent up, just rotate. Middle button turns the unit on. And then we have arrows out for extraction with variable fan speed, just by pressing. And if I press the opposite, it will slow it back down again. And if I continue to press, the blades will then stop and then spin in the opposite direction and then draw air in. Do make sure that all roof vents are closed for travel. We then have the fixed bunk beds just here, storage beneath the bottom one, and this can be secured up here if you need more space. All the mattresses are here, so we have 1, 2 for this bunk and the lower one, and then at the bottom we have the thinner one for the dinette bunk. To make these beds up, I'll firstly remove all the cushions, and now all the cushions and the table have been removed, we can now come to the bunk itself. This literally folds out and then flips over. It is a relatively two-handed job,